Hello and welcome back to Crypto Oh My God Friday edition. I've even got a green light in the corner today instead of blue. I'm getting wild. I'm feeling crazy. Anyway, it's a light topic today. Just looking at the state of the markets, money, macro. Let's get into it. So I opened my research today with this post from Eric Fine talking about their takeaways from a recent IMF meeting. I think it's pretty juicy and rather interesting if you're looking at what to expect in the upcoming days, weeks, months, maybe even long-term years, because this is about the revaluing of currency under the current regime and paradigm. Now, what this basically says in a nutshell is long emerging markets short the US dollar, basically saying that they assume the US dollar is going to devalue. They're actually pretty bullish on the euro, Germany specifically. I have a friend who's investing in a lot of defense tech stocks in Europe, basically saying if NATO's out, balloon that thing upwards of trillions of dollars. And he might not be wrong, right? But what we can see is that the shift in global monetary consensus is occurring. Now, they go on to say here that the US dollar isn't really going to lose reserve status as much as they think others are going to join it in that reserve status. And the point that I'd like to make is looking at that mental shift away from the dollar, because when we do move away from the dollar as reserve status, we of course welcome the concept of Bitcoin. Now, in keeping the concept of money talk going, we have this announcement that Ripple has upped their $5 billion offer to $20 billion to purchase Circle. So that's a 4x increase, pretty insane, and well, 20 billion is a lot of money. Now, Brad Garlinghouse, featured here, is really proving us the fake it till you make it. And why do I say that? And that is because the Ripple chain itself is an absolute garbage piece of shit. It doesn't do anything. Basically, the core concept was that you would have this giant liquidity pool of XRP, a made-up asset, and somebody would put funds like US dollars in one side of it and be able to use that liquidity layer to exit something like Ripple. This was a pre-stablecoin time when Ripple released, and to be quite honest, the whole thing has no justification in a world of stablecoins, so it's a bit silly. However, they have maintained an amazing treasury. They've convinced people that the XRP asset will go up, and somehow they've managed to pull it off. Of course, I will give them some credit for fighting a lot of legal battles in Washington. Now he's using the fact that the chain is basically worthless, but it has an amazing treasury to turn it into something of merit, i.e. purchase Circle and become a stablecoin issuer. It's kind of funny that it wanted to be this stablecoin alt, then stablecoins come in to replace it existentially, and now, well, they're like, hey, can we become a stablecoin issuer, something of merit? And of course, we can see stablecoins, if we go over here to DeFi Llama, just constantly on the rise. If we're seeing any adoption in crypto land, it is on the moneyness side of things. That would be Bitcoin, and that would be stablecoins. Obviously, moving your fiat currencies on chain is a big win over the old structure. Remember, the banks were built on tech that is pre-computer. It's insane how old they can maintain their operating systems. And now you have this beautiful thing, blockchain, which takes advantage of all the internet infrastructure. In fact, there's even a new physical internet structure project called 00, which is actually looking to replace the current internet, saying, you know, the way the cables are laid and everything, it's too slow and it's too latent. And we're going to build this peer-to-peer network that actually allows blockchains to move even faster. So you're probably going to see. So not only are stablecoins flying across the world with the speed and the costs that are just impossible in a traditional financial world, but it's up only in terms of technology, speed, price, transactions per second. And this is pretty damn clear, right? We have starting pre-July 2022 all the way to 2025, and you can see that this curve is happening. And of course, this was an earlier time in a bubble in Bitcoin world. What we're seeing now is the actual adoption of stablecoins. Charles Schwab just announced that they're going to start trading cryptocurrencies. Every single bank is taking stablecoins very seriously. Right now, it's actually a mental trade-off of are all of the predatory fees that we get, like overdraft, like late payment fees. The question is going to be, do we save enough in stablecoins, in transaction fees, and moving our money internally to actually offset those egregious fees that we charge everyone else? That is the mathematical equation that is being asked in banks right now. I know because I've spoken to them, and eventually we have to hope that you can get away from this predatory money grab and just create a monetary system that is so much cheaper that they don't need to abuse us, the users, in that way. Now, as we continue in the moneyness game, we can look at Ibit. This is the biggest of the Bitcoin ETFs, and it's a very strong indicator of capital flows into Bitcoin. As you can see, we've had this pump when Trump got elected. Obviously, the expectations of, the golden era or whatever he wants to call it. And then we have the unfortunate realities coming into play, but we're having this rebound. And as we come back to the idea of US sort of not losing its reserve status, but being devalued in the reserve itself or welcoming other assets alongside of it, that does mean you are going to have players that are seeking to move from USD into something else. Bitcoin is an amazing opportunity. And just the impact of its moneyness can be seen in a lot of the actions being taken. This one actually surprised me, which is that the EU is set to ban anonymous crypto accounts and privacy coins by 2027. Now, what's so wild to me about this is that you can't fucking ban these things. People have tried, and it doesn't work. This is anti-fragile, autonomous, decentralized technology. So this is Europe being par for the course and just trying to date itself and looking like an ass of its own making. I mean, you just can't really help them help themselves. But who knows how this will happen if, coming back to Eric Fine's point that the euro actually accelerates against the dollar, I don't know. We're going to have to see. There is another statement coming from the European Union saying, hey, stablecoins pegged to the USD are fucking with our whole thing. And like, why would people hold our money if they could just do a flight to the US dollar? So these two narratives are kind of contesting with each other, and we'll see how it plays out. Nobody ever knows anything. But if you're looking at the EU just being backwards as all hell and trying to ban privacy, I mean, come on. We had the United States of America, the most dominant country or political force on the entire planet, have to buckle under the pressures of privacy. When they delisted Tornado Cash from OFAC, that was the single greatest assault on privacy from a nation state. This is, I can't profess how important this is, that we've gone through this process, that there were legal proceedings, and that they ultimately decided that Tornado Cash is free to move forward. So these are all pretty wild. That being said, I do think we are in a shift where, again, the monetary adoption of Bitcoin and stablecoins is a wake-up call to the world about the power of blockchain, the technology underlying all of it, and who knows how that plays out for us all. Now, naturally, a lot of people have alts. They're being very disrupted by the meme coins. But when Bitcoin goes up, it's generally healthy. And more stable coins mean more assets that can move frictionlessly into things like alts or other meme coin assets. I would, of course, love to see more coins of merit, more actual investments take off. A lot of people are making their money right now in fart coin. I shit you not. That's not a joke. And it's a little bit disappointing. I got into this to, want to buy and hold an asset for a long period of time and to believe in something. And the fact that hot air rises and that fart coin is the strongest performing asset is very pessimistic, not just to the cryptocurrency space, but I think it's indicative of the zeitgeist of today. And anyway, I want to get back to a point where we can own an asset that we believe in. We can go to sleep on it for, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, and wake up with actual wealth creation from something of merit. To me, that would be a decentralized ecosystem. With that being said, enjoy the markets. They are turning around a little bit. As always, stay safe out there. I will see you on Monday and have a great weekend.